Crazy Legs, thank you for being a good jobber for 8 months. Fun fact about having a good time is that laughter can actually boost your immune system. Ergo, GTZ makes us healthier. Stay awesome, dude.
It does.
That means I'm going to laugh at you forever, because as I laugh at you, I only become stronger.
But if I laugh with you, do I get stronger? If I laugh at you, do you get weaker?
Is shared. He was laughing with me. Damn it.
Yeah, how does the resonance of laughter coming in and out work?
You're right, Ben. We should talk about resonance and New Shadows School.
Oh, yeah. How am I going to transition that into a beginning? I don't know how that's going to work.
I think they already had their laugh battle, and we're learning about how the rules of it work.
Yeah, can you tell me the science of how laughter kills somebody?
Well, we were definitely laughing a lot for this chapter. We appreciated every single funny joke that they made.
Yeah.
I can't think of a manga that had a chapter like this. That at the ending where they just explain the nuances of the little plot holes in the fight.
It's honestly very bizarre. Like, I kept waiting and waiting for something to happen.
I was
when
waiting
I got to
for
about page 12, I was starting to accept it, you know?
Yeah, you speedrun the grief cycle and realize that, oh, wait.
Before the chapter came out, fully came out, and there were just little pages, I kept seeing people say that, what is her name? Braid front and back girl.
I never learned it.
Not Wee Wee is the kid.
Is her brother.
Yeah, Wee Wee's her brother.
Is the brother. And she's
May?
something also double syllable thing. Yeah.
That she was setting up the sequel. And I think it's just okay, no, it's just this New Shadow School shit.
Yeah.
That's being dealt with just one and done in this chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get a very compelling cold open where she's meeting an old woman. And then we...
jump back into the action.
And then all of our great theories on what would be happening with Akotsu is just, he's fine, and he's kind of being yelled at a little bit. It's I guess you could have done better in the fight. You
saved everybody and did everything perfectly, but for some reason it was a problem because
we didn't get any Gojo in a doll or Gojo coming back. Sadly, it was just
two more chapters.
Weird,
two more chapters.
Yeah, there's always time. You never know. Those 2 chapters, anything can happen.
It's still gonna happen. There's no way it couldn't happen, but But yeah, I'm not disappointed whenever a theory doesn't come true. Like some people are, there's always that, I don't know, if you make theories and you fall in love with them and then it doesn't happen, it feels like it's wrong no matter what it is. In this case, it's weird that it left the last chapter off on a cliffhanger just for this.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be that much of a cliffhanger, but
I kind of expected this to, if it wasn't going to be the crazy, home run that I thought it was going to be, I do think this is close to the other way it could have gone, because it's the falling action. JJK has always been kind of goofy at parts, so yeah, sure, we've had a bunch of serious shit. Here's the levity afterwards. But
I guess so. I even at the tamest, I was thinking oh, what if he's just what if they're doing the surgery on him and they're like, Yuta, you jerk, you survived, darn you, heck you.
Yeah.
And then there's this happy, oh, he made it, hooray. It's just unceremoniously, oh, he's back, that's cool.
Yeah.
It feels pointless especially because they just don't follow it up with anything. They're just yelling at him because they don't have Reddit anymore after everything exploded.
We gotta have someone to yell at.
We gotta nitpick somehow, and that's how Yuta handled himself in the fight. Yeah, so in case it's not clear, the majority of this chapter is just them explaining why couldn't the X character do Y, and then they changed the topic to, well, why couldn't we do this with the cursed voice techniques?
Well, here's some new rule that you didn't know about, where it's making up answers to questions I think nobody had. And if they did, this is I don't know. I'll save it. I have a whole other thing.
The thing about those foreigners coming to help and they showed up late. Well, they could have
yeah, well, why did they?
That's
Why
such
didn't
a
they show up
weird nuance
earlier?
that I feel like would never be addressed in any other manga. Just like the person showed up late or whatever. It's like the one little thing or whatever that needs to happen during the fight and doesn't need addressed later. And that's kind of what already happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. It's like I don't imagine Gege has been getting too many complaints about like not explaining stuff thoroughly. So it's like it's that fear, that potential Redditor backlash that he seems to be afraid of.
This chapter feels weird because it feels like it's in response to something. Like it
Yes.
feels like
Is it in response to something, or is it like I finished what I wanted to say, but damn, to finish a tankobon or whatever an 8-chapter thing, I gotta fill 3 more chapters.
And there's so much more you could do about
There's so
anything.
much more I wanted to do in those 2 chapters that are coming out, baby.
like it's just weird to me because like a chapter like this doesn't feel like it's a thing where an author goes, I told the story I wanted to tell, including the chapter where I told them all the reasons why the way it happened had to be the way it happened.
Especially because like the creator comment for this week was like, oh man, this is so interesting. I've never really ended a big story before, so I'm having fun.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fresh. And it's like, this is okay.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is how you want to do it. Like,
Sucks.
yeah, like is there keep finishing the because I have like grander scope things about the chapter. I don't know if there's anything else you
Sure,
want to
yeah.
go over in
So
the nitty
like,
gritty
yeah,
stuff.
even this, the room
Did you
that
have
they
a
were
question
in,
about
I
this?
feel like that never needed to be addressed. I'm more curious now that Rika can do this.
I can make a TV head face.
Don't worry, the
I
next
can make
chapter
a
is going to be
TV
explaining
head
how Rika can
room.
do that. Oh man, yeah, it's all so they're all just like explaining like, oh, I could have done this, could have done that during the fight. It is pretty funny that they're just like, well, we can't blame each other. Like we all could have done different stuff, and it would drastically change the outcome.
Yeah,
And they're like, well, the foreigners didn't show up. It's like, yeah, that's right. They're the foreigners are at fault. So that part's fun.
yeah,
but-
that was funny, and just turn it
but
around
enough
to
of that.
like,
Let's
oh,
get back to explanations.
yeah,
And then they start talking about the new shadow style, and it's like we couldn't do enough of that during the fight because the president is someone we don't even know who it is, and we need a new president now.
I think lore expert Tyler can tell us exactly what this means.
Oh my god, I hated this. This is so dumb. Because it's like, hey, these characters in the fight did the new shadow style, and how was that able to happen, or why was that? And we see at the beginning, like, her talking to the old lady, and then we see at the end that she would just want to go there.
Yeah, you could just go to
Kills
the
her.
ending.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because she's like the head, and you have to talk to the head to get or you have to go through a binding vow to get it, and
Ish,
all
yeah.
this shit. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But like, she kills him, and then what's his name? Kusakabe. Is that his name? Or dude here?
I think so. Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
becomes the head, so it becomes no issue for everybody to learn it.
got it.
Yeah. He like this the president is the secret. We don't know who the president is, and we can only figure out a new president once the old one dies, and it just automatically
Was
happens.
this ever established?
It was fully
Kind
explained
of
in this
that
chapter alone.
So they established way earlier that like you have to be part of the New Shadows school to learn the the simple domain thing.
Okay, so like in my mind, I was like, and that is just a school of like a thing that
Yeah,
you
it's
can
just
learn.
like it's just like a thing people
Kung
don't
Fu
really
is
know
a
or whatever.
a
Yeah.
martial art you can learn. Got it. Like the end. I didn't
But
I
like,
took
yeah,
that as a literal you have to join a clan.
take it that way. I thought it was just a thing you could. What a school isn't a clan. I'm just like,
yeah,
sure, it's just
a
a
school
thing
of
you
martial
learn.
arts is just like a practice,
A
right?
style.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I
get
thought.
So like it does genuinely feels like Gege fully just set up and knocked down his own nitpick that he needed to tie loose ends of. It's so weird that he's just like, yeah, we couldn't do shadow style, but here's why we couldn't do shadow style, and then resolves the problem in the same chapter. I don't see the
Got
point
it.
of it. I really don't.
Yeah, this was dumb.
I wonder if it's just like a thing where, you know, like he's obviously a big manga fan. Like if there've just been like enough like, you know, Naruto or something where he had so many
Mhm.
questions when he read it. and he was just like, why didn't this happen? Why didn't this happen? Why did no one say anything about it? Like maybe this is like he just really gets off on these like kind of answer chapters where he's just like, no, baby, tell me every permutation of the situation. Like, give me the Doctor Strange vision of I want to know how it could have gone every possible way.
Yeah,
and why this was the one answer.
Gege self-reported that Gege is manga sins. Like, this is like, I was like, because my first critique was, I said this earlier and I thought I was maybe a little harsh when I was like, I feel like Gege is really insecure and is either preemptively getting ahead of criticism or responding to stuff on like 2chan or some shit. Because this is not an uncommon thing. Fucking Oku Hiroya, the Gantz author, has specific shit geared towards Gantz haters and all this shit. Like, it's very spiteful about it, and I love it. It makes me so happy. This one, however, feels like kowtowing to them and like going, you guys are right. I guess I should explain this because somebody's going to say this is a plot hole. And if it's not that, then maybe it's the other end, which is, no, actually, I'm manga sins, and I think Naruto sucks because they didn't explain how chakra actually works when it swirls around your head or your navel or whatever the fuck, and I think I should do that. That's a problem that needs fixing.
That's a
and
definite
no, it
possibility. Like, I can just totally imagine and be like, finally, a manga that ends where everything's fully explained in detail.
Where there's no room for interpretation, and you know exactly what happened and
That's
why.
what I love. I like having no questions after a story.
End discussions. This is
We all
why.
know exactly how Gojo got cut, and we're all
That's
satisfied.
right. We all understand. Yes, we all know exactly how it works. You can't go to our video where we're confused about it and find 10 different people with different explanations and other people going, God, it's so simple. They don't understand. But are we done with the plot summary?
Of our time.
Are we done with
I
the
think
plot
we're
summary
about done
part?
with the plot summary. The final step is just that the lady was like amassing power and stealing people's life essence for immortality and got killed, and now the school is saved. Finally, the school is saved.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give this
she
a
got
nod.
mad because her brother is turned into damaged goods, and she values things of higher standards. So she didn't like that something that she held value became lower standard.
That
Not.
makes sense.
Not.
I'm giving it a not.
Well, you know what? It could come around with that next chapter.
True. What if the next chapter has to use all of this, and this was all set dressing for how we bring
Oh,
Gojo
yeah,
back?
right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
once we have, Jujutsu Kaisen, the new Shadows school, like when that becomes, Jujutsu Kaisen Shippuden, basically, this whole chapter is going to make so much more sense, and it's going to be freaking the anchor to which that whole series will take its, inspiration.
You can't see the eyes rolling in the back of my head. I just want to know that I'm seeing my brain.
You can't skip this chapter. This is the chapter where we
It's so
introduce,
important.
Oob and Nen and the Dark Continent and the New World. Like, this is just setup, baby. This is just how we get ready for the post time skip arc.
Absolutely.
But you can skip it if you're reading Jujutsu Kaisen.
Also, more people are alive than I thought were going to end up alive.
That is the biggest reveal, I think, is that more people are alive
is
than
true.
not, which is cool. Like, I think we did glaze over that, but like Higuruma's
Like,
alive.
I thought Maki was
Yeah,
dead.
Maki's alive. I was ready for her to be dead. I was ready for a lot of people to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did feel like
You know what? Actually, we
has a
saw all
reputation
these
for
people
killing
last
people.
chapter.
Oh yeah, that's true.
At the end.
We didn't see Higuruma. We didn't see him. I don't think.
we weren't certain until we saw him. Yeah, but all this reminds me of a comment from our last Read It or Not from
Please.
Shade the artist.
Yeah.
It was starting with, that was such a very tame and optimistic reaction for the JJK chapter, and I just thought about that while in the middle of discussing this and thinking, well, I hope we improved this time around for you.
Yeah, I hope you got everything you wanted. So with Grant, what is your rating? You didn't give one yet.
Oh, I said you can skip this one if you're just planning on reading Jujutsu Kaisen. It's a not.
Okay.
Sounds
got
like a
it.
not. Okay.
Uh,
I think the whole tide of the battle would have changed if Broom Girl went.
I think so too.
Oh,
yeah, that would have been pretty good. But she was busy flying
That was bothering me.
her
I think
from
that-
China or something, from Hong Kong or wherever she was. Was that the
Is that
implication?
where she was?
She mentioned something about like, oh, but your broom was comfy.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone borrowed her broom.
I think
That
the
was very
implication was
important to
she
know.
was bringing her over.
Oh.
Yeah, your broom was a comfy ride.
So
that
that
was
was
the
important.
other thing. Did we ever see this shop before? I'm curious if this shop was ever set up. Like we see them exiting this little convenient candy shop
I don't.
The
at the
one at the
beginning of
end?
the chapter.
It might have been, but I don't think so.
It didn't
I don't
ring
think
any
so.
bells
Like
with
it feels
me.
like it was set up at the beginning because it was a new location that was like being teased.
You're right.
You know,
you're right.
Yeah,
is that kind of narrative device.
yeah. Here's this new concept that you didn't have anything to question about. Okay, we
Oh.
wrapped
Get
that up.
excited.
Aren't you? Okay, so I need to prelude this first with All right, I don't like being a hater, Gator. Not all the time, but sometimes I do. And I don't, because if you like it, I think that's fine. Like, it's cool that you have this thing, because this is very different than what I think a lot of. Thank you. That's the actual response. But let me try to, like, butter him up a bit. It's fine if this is what you like, because this is definitely not what every other shonen has ever done.
True.
And I think that is like unique and interesting in its own way. It's not my thing, because I think it's pointless and unnecessary. But there are like subsects of fans and shit that really glom onto this stuff, like the power scaler types eat all this shit up. People who can't get enough of like pitting their little dudes together, little war game, and then do their little what if battles. And I think this is a good like ingredient for that. Like there's so many people who are like, could Gojo kill Goku? We know basically everything about the Jujutsu Kaisen power system. And it's fun for that device, but I think for what
I don't know if you talked about it during this recording, but you said that this is also the everything here could have been covered in the Death Note Volume 13.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
This is why I hate this, like more than I would other times. You got 5 chapters left, and you're spending it on this dog shit that should be relegated to a guidebook. Like Dragon Ball's extra lore world building shit. They introduce power levels, have it for a little bit, and then they ditch it because they realize it's a stupid narrative like device that doesn't even matter. But the guidebooks have like, do you want to know a pool's power level? Here it fucking is. And here's like another thing. Like this feels like shit that did not need to be answered in a falling action, let's tie up all the loose ends thing. I give a shit about these people as people, not walking mechanics for like a battle system, which is what it feels like they're treated more importantly as. Like, I don't give a fuck about how your shit works. I care about you as a person.
Yeah,
More than
why were you
anything.
there or fighting? Not
That is
like,
the
how
point of
exactly
these
could you do it?
stories. I'm not looking for a fucking manual on how to make a world. I don't need a world guidebook. If I want that, I'll fucking buy it. So I feel like this is such a waste of a chapter for like what could have been critical character moments. And that's what pisses me off about this one in particular. And it really feels like, who asked for this? Like, why did this need to be one of your final chapters? Fucking do
Yeah.
anything else with the story. Give me something with the characters. That's why I'm here. And it's not just me, and there's plenty of people who will just shit on me and us for not understanding all the dynamics of it. Did you fuckers watch Yu-Gi-Oh? Did you like it? They made rules up all the fucking time. You don't need to know rules to enjoy a story, because stories are just about characters doing things, and everything else is a contrivance to make characters grow. Literally everything is just because a writer thought up, here's a problem, here's how we solve a problem. And yeah, you can get caught up in how you come up with a problem and how you solve it, because that's fun. But the real thing that fucking matters is these characters. That's why you fucking read a story. Is a character has an internal conflict, they solve it, yay, we're happy. That's why people read stories. That's how I think of it. And you can say I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That's fine. But that's the school of thought I come from. And
And
for
I
a
do
long-
want to say
Go ahead.
the reason like why we're all extra vitriolic is especially because it's just like a huge whiplash from the last few chapters, which are doing very good with the character stuff.
Yes,
We
yeah.
love them.
It was
much
like
character
exciting,
shit.
and like I still have like characters, so I just want to see them hanging out and interacting and having like this revelation of like the fighting's over. Now what do we do? Like there's all kinds of fun and interesting ways you could go, and spending basically a whole chapter of homework of just like, yes, this is why my resolution made sense, I promise. Like it feels so weird and just out of place. And again, yeah, like it's extra disappointing knowing like the story's almost over. You're running out of runway, and this is just like this is what you're gonna do with it. Really sucks.
Like they're giving all these like little character moments in this chapter.
There are, yeah. I don't want to throw it all
But
out. There
I
are
don't
fun little
care
moments.
for these characters.
True.
Though.
Mhm.
Like it's Mai and Wee Wee Pee Pee
Yeah, yeah.
and
Wee Wee and Pee
Choo
Pee,
and I
my
don't give a
favorite
fuck for
characters.
those 5 characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
have rather had Hikari takes all of them gambling as this last chapter.
Yeah,
Like-
that's the other thing. Go have this conversation while doing something. If this was One Piece, they'd be having this conversation while fucking partying.
Yeah.
I always bring it up, but Hunter x Hunter is way over-explains everything, and I eat that up because the execution is like it's servicing something. It's being told with like show don't tell examples and things like that. Again, this is just a chapter where they're all sitting in a room talking.
Just talking constantly, which can be engaging. There are moments where you can have engaging characters like just sitting there talking, but that's usually because there is a conflict that needs to be resolved. But this is like, what's the conflict? Did somebody really piss you off that bad on 2chan? Did you go to the battles wiki and somebody was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why did somebody do XYZ versus Sukuna? And like, who
Yeah,
fucking
I was
cares?
thinking like the conflict would be that everyone would start blaming themselves and they had to learn to accept the outcome because they all did what they could. That wasn't a conflict that was resolved. It wasn't really a conflict, I guess. They're just kind of yelling for the sake of yelling.
I wish I liked this more because I feel like there's so many people that like eat up all the JJK power stuff more than I do. But that's not what I'm like here for. I'm here because I like these characters because I think they're fun, and I am just upset that we spent this much time at the end not getting fun character things to do what feels like an encyclopedia entry. And I don't know, it's boring, lame.
Yep.
Wish you had another anything else. Anything else would have been cooler. But I don't
Let's
know.
talk about something else then. We've all agreed Jujutsu Kaisen this week's or not. Just legit skip over it unless the old lady's setting up for
222
the-
Kaisen.
Jujutsu Jutsu.
Well, if this is gonna be what it
Jujutsu
is,
Kaisen.
I don't wanna. I don't want.
You don't want people with
You know what?
different
Yeah.
shadow powers? Like, how else? You're like, what are people? Never mind.
All right, let's go into Kagurabachi. We've got a Kagurabachi to talk about.
Hell yeah. God, every
Yeah,
time I
now
come
we're
into
talking.
Kagurabachi, I'm just like, I'm a fucking camel drinking water in the one oasis in this desert.
It's fast.
Before
Like well, go ahead. Sorry.
Before we get into it, I did want to mention like Twitter. My Twitter has suddenly realized that I like Kagurabachi, and so I've been getting plenty of that. So I just wanted to share.
Hell
And a little
yeah.
event that happened. So, an artist here,
Can
Corn
you
Art,
make
was
this, can you zoom out, control scroll or control minus, whatever?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, is that in the center now?
Yes.
All right. Corn Art was making like one of those circles where they draw a bunch of characters of different colors to show like a color circle.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, I'm on the black space now. Which one should I do? And they made a poll for it. And so Chihiro Rokuhira, who like half the people there didn't know, but the other half desperately voted for him.
Wow.
And then Shadow eking into second place. So
Damn.
that just became a huge thing.
Yeah,
now
66,000 votes. That's wild.
I've seen that one going around. That's awesome.
I didn't realize that was what it was in reference to.
That's awesome.
I literally thought I was like, oh, Kagurabachi's big, and we got Sonic 3 happening. Like it is kind of like a big, Chihiro versus Shadow time.
Yeah, emo's coming back, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the Corn Art guy's person is just like, doing
Oh,
all this
good.
fun stuff with it.
Yes. See, I don't need Kagurabachi to tell me how he cut Shadow. I get it.
Yeah. I understand how he did it was badass, and that's enough for me.
Yeah.
My favorite bit is after all this emo talk, I see this one. It's, and just I wake with fresh hatred, and then it just shows him feeding Char
Yes.
ice cream.
Being the sweetest fella.
So good.
It's very fun.
That's
So
awesome.
I just appreciated that. That was a nice thing to see on my timeline, and I hope Twitter keeps feeding me that stuff.
That is the good stuff for sure. But yeah, Kagurabachi, like, it occupies this interesting space for me where like I love it, but like I'm not like fiending for spoilers or like waiting like with One Piece for a while. I've been like just like anticipating and like knowing when spoiler stuff drops for this. For this, it's always like, oh yeah, Sunday, Kagurabachi, and then I tune in and I'm just like, fucking yeah, Kagurabachi rules.
Yeah.
and then it's just like, and then I'm back out.
The story is like remarkably simple, and it's kind of surprising how it works as well as it does because of how simple it is. But it's just like, yeah, we kind of, I mean, it makes sense. The guys are fighting. Shiro's probably going to win, and we're just going to have a fun time. It feels like an action movie, but it's just very well done. So it's just very nice to appreciate.
Yes, and because it's like it's not exactly on the other end of the spectrum. If like JJK feels like fucking Sherlock GIF calculating 500 different things about how he can cut this guy and why. This one's just a Bruce Willis action movie. He didn't die to the bullet because he's the main character, and then he kills you. And I'm like, sure,
pretty much, yeah.
Guess I was lucky. Bang. But the gang's all on the train, ready to fight these guys. We're basically getting jumped while babysitting our enchanted blade wielder.
Yeah, I'd say this is just a really action heavy chapter. Not too much was like gone over with the story. We've got Uraha, I think is his name.
Yeah, the blade wielder.
And so yeah, last chapter there was that fun twist where he's just like, we're gonna get him, we're gonna kill his friends, and he's gonna come out and say, "How dare you?" and go Super Saiyan, and he never did. He's got the determination.
He knows how to be calm. He knows when he's being egged on.
Yep. And so now Chihiro's just fighting the main guy, and they're kind of realizing, this fodder is fodder. We're not going to have to worry so much about them.
There's one tough dude here, it turns out.
I like this. I'm always just happy to see wacky new powers in any shonen anything.
Blood crane, just origami cranes.
Yeah,
I
that's
bet
cool.
Them being called blood cranes, he's like got his blood on the paper or whatever. He's folding them into different things with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
then
the
they
cranes
literally got
shoot
blood on
through bodies and blind Chihiro. Just a lot of fun action stuff. A lot of course, the movement I just love. Like,
I know
this big circular panel.
Every time we get to see Chihiro like schmoving around, I'm like, you capture it so fucking well. Oh my god!
Like this circular panel is like the Sonic Adventure, the one where he's like making that pose in a ring.
Oh yeah.
I like his call the centipede being like, hey, I'm going to do like a big wide attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he calls out Centipede to tell, I can't believe I forgot his name again. I'm embarrassed at this point.
Hiyuki? No.
Hikari?
No.
Hakuri.
Hakuri.
Yeah. He's telling Hakuri to duck. And the way he can think to do that without giving away that he needs Hakuri to duck is by saying centipede, which is what his father used to shoot out a wide AoE of rocks.
Yeah.
So just very...
Okay. I actually forgot that that's what that was. I was like trying to figure out, like, what does centipede mean? And I was like looking at these panels, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I understood what he was communicating, but what it was referencing.
Can you hear the next one? I think it's when it happens.
Yeah. But it's such a quick moment. Like, it's used with small panels. It's meant to be quick, but it's just like, it's something you can just like appreciate if you just want to spend the time on it, which manga is a good medium for. It's just like, it's nice that you can make these small moments still allow your reader to focus on that and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Always appreciate the medium.
I like Uruha's just little, I'm good, everything's cool. I dodged your big slice, we're fine.
Yeah, I love the quick cut to the flashback panel where you just see like quick, like, I can see the little chee, like, flashing from like fading from white, all the little fun memories. You got this. Here's the with your dad. I know you got it. You're a tough guy. I was like, oh.
Yeah, so far Uruha's seeming kind of bland to me. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it, but I'm sure he'll have more stuff later. But
or die
that is
very
something that
soon.
I noted. That's also true.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought was gonna happen.
Uruha's admirable, and
kill.
that's kind of all he is right now. So I'll be interested to see if that picks up.
Yeah.
But again, this is just mainly a fight chapter, so not much is going to be developed.
Great shot though of like coming out of the moving train. Like, looks so good.
God, like he really is just good at all this stuff.
And then
all this action movement.
I appreciated this moment here. This I thought was like one of the cooler air quotes lore drops where the characters put a little thing together. Chihiro's like kind of flashing back to the the power imbalance that was discussed last chapter or 2 chapters earlier, where they're like,
the bad guys have more troops, more
they got
numbers.
more troops and everything. And then I appreciate a breakdown like this where he's like, okay, well, they're all using like the little explodey magic power. So they're just kind of like little missiles that are going to show up and die. So they're going to do that, do their thing, and then they're gone. And we can kind of tank those. Then right now they're saying they weakened the Kamunabi guards enough. So are they not dead?
I think they're just describing them in terms of teams. The Kamunabi team versus the bad guy team. And so they weakened their team enough.
But like they're showing the panel of them on the bench there. Are they alive?
Well, I think the rest of the sentence, him saying like they weakened them enough so that the elite fighter could finish them off. I think what they're saying is like these guys, this like elite good guy squad was worn down by the fodder, so the boss could swoop in and kill him basically. Or like boss that Chihiro is now splitting off from the group.
Gotcha.
So he's like, this is like their ace guy. If I can get him away from the enchanted sword wielder, there's no one else who's going to be able to touch him, basically.
Yep, I think so. And again,
like, that'll
bringing
give him
to the
time
table
to recover.
the ticking clock for the victory, the win condition is just letting Hakari rest long enough to be able to teleport the sword to him.
Not only that, but we're also heading towards another sword bearer, and it's like, holy shit, we're not only just getting this one guy out of the way, we're getting to another one, just getting... How many swords do we have now that have come into play? That would be 5.
Yeah, like was this one? Was this one you were reading? You were like, "Oh, this is moving fast."
I got to like 2 pages. So I'll be honest, I got to 2 pages before this, and that's when I had to stop reading at work, like the page before this. And I was like, "Cool." And then I had to stop because I was going into work, and I was like, I just flipped through it to see like what am I to expect. And I saw the 2 swords, and I thought, "Oh man, he's using 2 swords. Called it. That's it."
But yeah, so
2 sword
we're setting
bearers,
up the win
but
con
their
for
swords
this.
look like they go in a pair.
Ooh, yeah.
And that makes me think, because they're establishing, we're so close to winning. It does make me think that something bad is going to happen next chapter.
No, almost certainly.
No, it couldn't be. We're doing good. And then the last thing we see for this chapter is that the sliced up bad guys have gotten a hold of the magic rocks that'll superpower them and kill them.
They also call it the
counter
Eton-
N10 special force. So they know about N10's power from their boss guy fighting him. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
I like this little villain though with the paper crane shit. I like their design. I'm curious if they're going to be like a bigger threat or anything. I don't expect them to be, but even if they're a jobber, they are a very cool jobber.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is just a fun fight scene. I can't really say much more about it. It's like the John Wick. It's just very well done, and that's why you watch it.
I like seeing Chihiro chop through the bad guys. It's a fun time every time.
Yeah.
He always makes it look cool.
I always give Kagurabachi a ready, and this is no exception.
Yeah, I would say this continues.
Continue reading.
One of those things too that like I'm wondering, how long is this gonna go? Like we're getting another holder here.
Yeah,
Dang.
we're like, we've got over half the swords now.
I think.
At least in our sights.
Yeah, because there's 7.
Yes.
Yeah, he has the 7th enchanted blade. We've got one sword guy heading for another.
And that'll be 4, I think.
Yeah, because we have
four and a
Cloud
half.
Gouger's gone. We have the spooky one from the auction.
We have N10.
I bet we're setting them up to be dealt with, and then they're going to be reintroduced again. I bet they're just going to be taken and then used by back.
Yeah.
Probably.
I could see something like that. I wonder if it's gonna be if it's going to pivot into like, I feel like you set up this, like, we still don't really know what the war is, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if something's gonna come around with that.
I've always been assuming that they're gonna gather all the swords. They're gonna be like, oh, we've got them all on our side. Something super bad happens, whether it's another outside force or whether the bad guys get all the swords, and then that's going to lead to a bigger conflict going forward.
It's a shonen after Naruto, Ben. We can't end without another fucking war arc.
It needs to be a war, all-out war.
Has to be a war, yep.
That is.
Every character has their thing resolved in the war.
Tournaments used to be the staple, and now it's wars.
I mean, wars are just how all manga end, regardless of tournaments being needed. But yeah, I give it a ready. I think it's good. I think it's fun and nice.
Yeah.
I get a reedy.
I love coming to, you know, I know we were shitting on Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm sorry. If you like it, then you're allowed to like it. Let me not like it, okay? Because I'm not going to shit on you for liking it, so shut up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like ideally you would just leave a very well thought out and really cool comment saying how we're really stupid. And we do genuinely appreciate those. There's a reason when
Yeah,
we
you're
read
allowed
these
to
out is because
disagree by all means.
we have fun with the dissenting opinions. We enjoy those.
Look, I'm just gonna agree with my brother on this one. It's a bad chapter.
This was a weak chapter. No one was acting cold or whatever.
Yeah, no one was. No one was. I was gonna say thick.
Cold and thick like a Dairy Queen blizzard.
Stone solid.
Good times. Zone.